Yeah, so if you can see here, it says I have gap closer with and no other violence available. Same with like the suit, I only have the one suit. If you go to weapon, it's also not showing.
I guess I used to talk with Prota. Yeah, but
Now if you go to the actual
that
suit
was a long
itself,
time ago.
I own magnetic link, but I can't select. I got no like option to equip. Same with rapid fire, I've got no option to equip. I have the option to buy new ones, but I don't think that's going to fix it from what I've read on the forums so far. Same regard if I was to buy no suit, it doesn't look like it's going to fix it. Now, as you can see, gap closer is locked, but it's equipped, and acting as if I've got it acquired, which I don't. As you can see obviously at the top there that I must research the suit, but I don't own the perk for it. One thing to mention also is when you go into co-op, it shows like on I don't know, so like on this screen in game, it does show that I have rapid fire equipped, but I don't have it equipped. Even if I go into a game, my rate of fire isn't increased. I can't pick up my bullets at an extended range. But as I say, there's no way to equip the biolinks in any sense of the word. I've tried multiple things to try and fix that. I've tried to, when it first happened, it seems like I went into a co-op match, or joined a co-op game at one point. I noticed that I only had 2 bolts. That's when the issue first started. I came out, I managed to rectify that by unequipping and re-equipping the weapon and switching them out of the 2 slots. Like switching the slots seemed to have fixed that. So obviously that's rectified, but in regards to the actual biolinks, I have not managed to find a single fix to it, or like a temporary fix until obviously it gets fixed by yourselves. Obviously I'll go on to in regards of the replays. Obviously I'll make it so you can skip to different parts. But if you look for an instance, obviously these ones, understandable, they make sense. People have obviously attempted the base, they haven't collected it, they've left the legit way by abandoning. If they've abandoned it, that's fair enough, no problem with that, they just didn't succeed the level. But if you take a look at, say, this one for an example, it shows 0 deaths, hasn't collected it, and the same, I think there's another one recently, same for this one which I've already checked, it shows 0 deaths, and shows he hasn't completed it in 15 minutes. Now the part that obviously piques the interest is, how can they be in there for 15 minutes, not die, and not grab the gem? I thought maybe they're just struggling to find a way to complete the level. Not 100% if it's reflected on this part, because it's much harder to tell if something is acting on you, because obviously you've got multiple people obviously doing it. It doesn't seem like it reflects the kills at all when people are running it, because what I've noticed happens is obviously you get the red blinking, the alarm, and I've noticed this on the forum, people have mentioned that you get the red warnings, just random warnings that aren't reflecting anyone actually reading your base, and I think this is linked to it. So you'll get the red warnings, but when you go in here, and obviously to the build, it doesn't show any increase. And then obviously if you go to here, it'll either not show a replay, which is one thing I've noticed, or it will show 0 kills. Now, to explain why the 0 deaths, for an example, is wrong, if I go into here, obviously you can fast forward past this part. you'll notice that there are several death markers. Again, I can't tell if resources aren't being dropped by the deaths, because with many people dying, it's hard to tell if resources are meant to be dropped every single death. If they're not, I don't know that, so I can't tell if resources are or not being dropped. But obviously, once we get into this, you'll be able to have a look, and obviously you're going to be more knowledgeable on what should and should not be happening in regards to the in-game. So obviously, as you can see at the top there, obviously the timeline is showing that he has 5 deaths, but on the replay it shows he has 0 deaths. I'll obviously speed through this part. Just so we can get to a point where it obviously shows like he's going to die. Frustratingly, it is a 15-minute clip, so obviously this is where you can see obviously the deaths, they'll slow down when we're closer to it, but obviously you'll be able to skip to the end to see what I'm talking about in terms of looking for the disconnecting or forcing themselves to disconnect, which is obviously dashboarding, or I'm assuming PC is not a similar thing. So as you can obviously see there, he died to impale us. I will also obviously load into the building, so then you can obviously I'll go down see if there's death markers. So obviously I'll just fast forward all of this so it's a bit easier. That should be 2 deaths, maybe. I have noticed this, I will touch on this. I have noticed that this has occurred on both PlayStation and on the PlayStation and the PC platform, and both seem to be having this issue. It isn't just exclusive to one platform, I've noticed. The first time I noticed it was a PC, and I thought maybe it was something to get away with in regards of being able to do. Because I know they can disconnect their games in a much easier way than say a console can. But it also seems like the console can do it as well. The only way you can usually do this sort of thing on games is by switching to the dashboard, because the game doesn't recognise that you quit. And that's what I think is happening here. I think the game's registering you going in. I think it's registering you playing the level for the 15 minutes, so it's obviously got those times down, but it's not registering the deaths because you quit, and I think that's where the issue lies. I don't know what coding is that user got applied to it, but it seems like it's that coding doesn't save your deaths, which is weird. Because personally, I think it should, obviously, this is just feedback, but I think if somebody abandons your base, I think it should automatically just give a death to the person that built. Because another thing I've noticed that happens is people tend to go in, look for the tomes, and instantly leave, which is another problem. Obviously, you get people completely closing off the tomes, which is another thing obviously that might need to be addressed, because you shouldn't get penalised. It should work like a you can't even do it like a gen map, because you can just make the box bigger. I don't know if there's a way to make it possible to make it so you've got instant access to the actual tomes itself, a bit like the gen mat and Harvey works. But again, that's just food for thought. But it always does seem to be, you don't get far in your level until, and then they obviously give up. It's effectively a rage quit if we're wanting like jargon. So I would say you're maybe like what, halfway through the base. If he takes this route, it's obviously longer. This just leads to a bump. But it is quite possible he goes down here and dies to the traps at the tomb. Just trying to base it off the timeline. I'm not sure if he gets down there and gets back in that amount of time. Actually, it's possible. I'm not sure if we need to get down. So he dies later on. Also, obviously, a decent feature would help with this. If we can get more than a 2 times fast forward, would be useful. Obviously, I don't think we can get a rewind yet, because I'm assuming the way you do your replays is obviously it loads a new instance and puts the just re-inputs what buttons they're putting, replays the inputs, but it's a new scenario. So I understand why we can't get a replay function for that. But faster like fast forward would be useful, especially for ones like this where there's big gaps. Especially for the people that decide to go AFK, either at the start or in the middle. It's a little bit, I guess, just lack of patience maybe. Guessing he dies to a flamethrower. I can't remember which version of the base this is actually. Bombs, I think. Is the bomb still here? No. I edited this one so much recently, I can't even remember what track we're on. Right, a simple. It was a simple full shot. Right, so we'll see. Because usually what now will happen is you'll probably try and speed run through with this. He'll get to a point where he almost dies. Just before he dies again, replay will end as if it's fine. But it always seems to happen just before they're going to die again. It doesn't happen mid-game, so it doesn't look like it's a mid-game crash. Because if it was going to happen, it's not going to happen every single time you're just about to die. Obviously I'm pretty sure you're aware of the like lag issue on the replays. But that's obviously just a stability thing that's easily fixed, I would presume. Easily is probably a bit too. I'm sure it's much more manageable than much other bugs that you've got. Or problems that you come across. So yeah, I guess he's gonna die next part. There. So maybe on this instance he did crash, because he wasn't just, well, it's hard to tell if it was a legitimate crash or not, but it's an example of what happens. In previous ones, it has been a case that people have just about to die and then disconnect. Now obviously this is just speculation, but maybe he remembered at the last second that there's a trap up there because there's the impaler up there. Maybe he realised that dashboard before he died. That's speculation, but it always does seem to happen. Even if it is a disconnect, I don't think we should get
Death litters your outpost, custodian, as it should be.
So obviously I'll reflect it again. if it's hopefully still there. Yeah, it's still there. So as you can see, obviously that replay we just watched, 15 minutes long. Obviously you've got the time and everything, but no deaths are registered. If I go in, this was this one, because the problem I've noticed is with people doing it, and especially with a lot of people not leaving accolades, it's already sometimes on certain bases hard to get the points. So that's definitely an issue. Might be a problem. Died. Died at least.
So what's the bug?
Yes. Proves that I just did. Based on some replays, I've not seen. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure I died in here as well. So it's not leaving death markers. Which I'm guessing in turn isn't leaving resources. Okay, back inside. It's the last death. Died, yeah, I was just a second there. Oh shit. So basically, since you're watching, I didn't even say that this was just for the developers supporting it. Basically, the bug is people are disconnecting, or the game's disconnecting them, and they're not leaving what looks to be death markers, so it's not counting a death, it's not leaving or dropping resources. And obviously, on the replay screen, it's also showing no deaths. So basically, people are going in, spending 15 minutes, for an example, trying the level, not able to complete it for whatever reason, disconnecting, rage quitting, server disconnect, whatever you want to call it, happens. The game registers no death. We then get no death markers, which in turn, I'm presuming, gives us no resources. So we get no prestige points for kills, we get no resources for kills. For anyone that does that, and it seems like anyone can do it. PC, consoles, all seem to be able to do it, which is obviously going to affect massively on bases being able to hit prestige. Which is obviously the biggest problem. The other bug is try and be careful when you're playing co-op because your biolinks can get locked. You won't be able to use other biolinks once it happens until it's fixed. They're the two bugs that was being addressed in this. But mainly this was just a video to send on to support as requested. But I hope you enjoy the game and yeah, keep raiding, I guess. And just be careful with slight bugs that are occurring at the minute.